There's going to be zero beating around the bush in this video because there is going to be some brutal truths that you need to hear if you want to lose the skinny fat physique. And if you're watching this video, you might be skinny fat, you might not be, you might just want more knowledge. But this is going to be a hard-hitting video that you will not hear from many other coaches, which is why I'm here. And that's why I'm going to provide you with all the knowledge possible. Like most of these videos, this video is completely unscripted. There's no slides. It's just me speaking to the camera as raw and authentic as possible. There's going to be no ChatGPT, no waffle. There's going to be a waffle actually. Let's cut that out. There's going to be waffle. But the main thing is we're here to have a good time. And if you're going to watch all the way through, you're not only going to get loads of knowledge, but I'm going to respect you as a person because this is not going to be easy to hear. So let's dive in. Number one, during your weight loss journey, which I assume you're going to want to do when you're skinny fat, or your body fat reduction journey, because maybe you don't want to lose weight, you just want to lose the belly and tone up the arms like most people do, is you are going to feel hungry. Now, a lot of coaches will tell you that if you eat right, eat the right times, and do all the right stuff, you're not going to feel hungry at all. Your journey is going to be all rainbows and shiny pots of gold and all that good stuff, and you're going to be made of magic and rubber and nothing's going to hurt you. But if you are wanting to drop your body fat percentage, you are going to feel hungry. It's as simple as that. To get to a specific point, you have to reduce your calories below your maintenance. So you are going to feel hungry while you are getting down to that point, but the moment you get there and you can maintain it, you will feel less hungry, if that makes sense. And there's not really any specific things that I do to deal with my hunger as a coach. You can probably see a couple Pepsi Maxes in the back. But, of course, eating the whole foods, timing your meals is quite important as well. But there's no specific ways to deal with it better than others. It's just how you deal with being hungry. Like, do you see hunger as a bad thing, or do you feel like you feel almost like a drive when you're hungry? You feel like because you're hungry, you can almost feel the fat stripping off your body. It's all mindset, of course. Obviously, depending on how big the deficit is as well, is how more hungry you're gonna feel or how hungry you're gonna feel. But even then, obviously, some people just genetically deal with hunger better than others just because of life. But there's, especially if you've been trying to unwind a life of bad habits, to start to drop your body fat percentage or start to tone up your physique and lose the skinny fat physique is going to be difficult, and you're going to feel hungry. And I feel like a lot of people beat around the bush when it comes to that. But if we're being brutally honest, you will feel hungry for 6 to 12 weeks, how long it will take you to get the transformation, until then you go into your muscle building phase. You can then bulk up, and then life's great until you get bored of eating food. Like, either side of the spectrum, you are going to hate either eating too much food or eating too little food. So it's just how you deal with it, right? It's all mindset, in my opinion. Number two, kind of like what I mentioned, is it will take time. Is that to get a sick transformation and to get your dream physique, you have to reverse an entire lifetime of bad habits. That's not just your entire lifetime of bad habits being an adult, but also in your school days, but also your lack of activity now, or even when you were younger, or just genetically, maybe it doesn't run in your family. Maybe it's just difficult. But the thing is, you can start to make pretty good dents in 10 to 12 weeks, depending on how quickly you lose fat or how quickly you change your calories or how quickly you adapt to a plan, which you can get link in description. But it just depends on how fast you want to reach the goal, how much suffering you want as well, because you can reach your goal a lot quicker. You're just going to suffer more for less time. Or you can do it sustainably and suffer very little, but then it's easier to sustain after that because you've done it so slowly that didn't even feel like you were doing anything, right? It just kind of chipping away at your physique, and all of a sudden you look back at one progress photo, you look at yourself now, and you look crazy good. But yeah, another thing I wanted to mention that I put in my notes, again, it's one page of notes, is the compound effect. Is that small little actions, and instead of getting rid of your lifelong bad habits, is you need to start compounding positive habits, because you can't just reduce them completely and live your life. You need to take individually the lifelong bad habits and start to make small adjustments to make them into good habits. And by making those small changes, the compound effect will do its magic. And by slowly each day changing them to be a little bit more positive, all of a sudden you'll look back and you'll realize your life has completely changed. And I think that's the biggest game changer. It's like you can start to incorporate 5 minutes of reading, then maybe 10 minutes, then 15 minutes. Or you can start going 5 minutes to the gym, 10 minutes to the gym, 15 minutes, or just walking in the door. And all of a sudden you see yourself as an athlete, you see yourself as the strong guy. Like, looking back at old photos, you would never think that, well, I wouldn't think that that was me, or I used to live like that, because, well, I mean, that was just how I lived. Like, that was just the standard. But obviously the standard changes, and all of a sudden you look back at yourself and you're like, wow, like, that is crazy. But number 3 is that I can't even read my own writing. I'm gonna have to pick up my notebook. Oh, it's sacrifices will be made for number 3. And people hate when I say this as well, but there's going to be certain things that you have to give up or reduce. And it's not forever, of course. Like when I go in a dieting phase, I sacrifice my carbs, and I'm happy to say that. Carbs is the first thing to go, because they are the least beneficial thing for me towards my goals. Like, if my goals mean a lot to me, I'm not going to go out on Saturday socials. I'm not going to go out on Sunday socials. Or I'm not going to go to the pub on Friday night. Or I'm not going to travel as much because I like my routine. I'm not going to constantly travel like the world or go on holidays because I want to try my best to get to my goals. And because my goals mean a lot to me. So that also is going to go into the next point as well later on, because I don't want to go too much into that point. But yeah, there's going to be things that you have to give up, and you kind of just have to realize what means the most to you and what doesn't mean that much to you. And you just kind of have to, you need to write stuff down based on how much priority is in that thing. Because there's going to be stuff higher up on that priority list. But if there's 2 things that are high priority that contradict each other, it's a lot harder to balance both of them together, which is a big eye-opener. But you need to kind of start to regulate that and start to write that down. And then once you do it too much or you do it enough, it starts to auto-regulate, and then you start to fit stuff into your life without having too much challenges. That's why the athlete can go out and have some food without any, have a big meal and wake up the next day and feel fine, because they've auto-regulated to basically know exactly what to do to reduce the damage. But if you did it, it's a lot more difficult to reduce the damage. Sorry guys, I had to drink some water because my throat is gone. I've recorded like 2-3 videos in a row, but it's all good. Number 4, going on to the next point, kind of touching on the last one, is you need to know exactly what you want right now, and understand that what you want right now is going to change. Let's say right now you want to get like bodybuilder lean, but then maybe something comes up or life happens, and then maybe it's not really on your agenda. Maybe your goals now, maybe then you become a dad and you want to be there for your children, and being bodybuilder lean is you don't have that energy to play with your kids, or you don't feel like you show up best, or you feel like you're a little bit more miserable when you're shredded. But it's all about managing your goals based on your current scenario and being realistic as well, because I think that's the most important thing. Is if you don't know what you want right now, it's constantly going to change, And when you don't have a goal set in place, you will never be happy because you're chasing something that you'll never achieve. Because when you get close to something, your goals change. And all of a sudden, you don't like the way you look because you're chasing a goal that seems so far away. And that's how body dysmorphia kind of happens, is because you set so many goals and you get so anxious and depressed about all the different options, it becomes a lot more difficult to follow because of how many different goals you set and how quickly your mind changes. Finally, number 5 is you need to plan how you are going to maintain your new results. Because, in all honesty, getting there is great, but you can easily bounce back to your current weight in the snap of a few seconds. Because although the moment you get there, it's going to be easier to maintain than cutting down, that does not mean you can live the exact same lifestyle you did before, because then you will be the same weight you were before. So there is sacrifice you have to make. The sacrifices you make to lose the weight are going to be different to the sacrifice you make when you get to your dream weight. So you don't have to sacrifice as much when you're there because you no longer have to be in a deficit, but you do have to realize that you cannot go back to that old lifestyle. You cannot live the same lifestyle and be in different shape because life does not want that to happen. It just doesn't gel, right? And unfortunately, that's just how it is. Of course, coaching does make that easier. There's not going to be a ploy for my coaching, although you can find out more about my coaching, link in the description, shameless plug. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be hardships, there's going to be brutal truths you need to hear, but by having somebody next to you and by having somebody that can communicate and be able to help you lean into those bad days and feel better about those bad days, because realistically you're going to have good days and bad days. It just depends on how good the good days are. Depends on how bad the bad days are, according to you. But by having a coach, it allows you to lean into them and make as much progress as you can. But if you want to learn more about that, the link is in the description. Other than that, that's everything in today's video. And don't forget to take your creatine, and I'll see you guys in the next one.